won't you talk to me? I just wanna feel
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Find Me in a Book podcast. I'm excited that you're back, or if you're new here, welcome. We are going to be in the little cowboy realm today for the episode. And I just want to first apologize because I'm so sorry that I have taken this long to read this book. I'm sorry. I don't know why I haven't, especially because of how much I loved like Lila Sage's like Done and Dusted series, like her two books. I just like absorbed them. And this was very similar vibes. I loved today's book so much. And I actually am already halfway through the second book, and I have loved it even more than this first book. And so I would say if you really like the first one, you have to read the second one. Like, oh, I don't know what it is. And we'll get into the second book a little, not very much, but I'll just tell you once we're there, like why I love it so much. But today's episode is solely on the first book, and it's called Flawless by Elsie Silver. And it is part of a big series, and there's series spin-offs from it. I don't know what series was the first one. I did a little bit of research, but not like too much into like the publication date. I know today's book came out in 2022, and the series is complete. I want to say there's 5 books, and I'm very glad that there are 5 books, and I'm very glad that they have all been not punished, but published already, so then I don't have to wait. And I will be reading all 5 of these books. I'm telling you that. Like already halfway through the second, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be reading all of these books. So Elsie Silver also has Wild Love, the Wild Love series. There's 3 books in that, and then there's the Gold Rush Ranch, which I didn't look and see how many books there were in that. I think maybe like 3 or 4. But how the not hierarchy, but how it relates to this series. So in this book, there is Summer. She's the main female character, and then there's Rhett Eaton. So in the Eaton family, that's where this like series is based off of. And so Rhett is the youngest boy. So there's Cade and Bo. So Cade is the one, he's the oldest. He's in the second book. It's his story in the second book. And he is kind of over the ranch. Like he is the head honcho for it. He took over for his dad. And he is just the most grumpiest, surliest cowboy ever. And so there's him, and then there's Bo. Bo is in the military, and he is always deploying off and on. And I'm excited to get to his story. I don't know. I want to say it's like the next book, but I haven't like really looked into it. And then we have Rhett, and he is a bull rider, a professional bull rider. And then there's Violet. In the second book, we meet her in the first book. Her name's Willa. She is Summer's best friend. She is in the second book, and she is the love interest of Cade. And so, I love that aspect. I love the best friend and then the brother, and it's just so good. But Willa's her parents' story is the Wild Love series. And I think, yeah, Willa probably comes into play in maybe the second or third book. So that's that series. And then Violet, the sister, the youngest one, her story is the second book in the Gold Rush Ranch. So it kind of, is spread throughout all these series, and I'm loving it. I don't know if I'm going to read the other 2 series. I most likely will eventually, but for sure this series, I'm going to be reading it. And I might even do like the second through the 5th book. I might sprinkle them in as like a mini episode on Thursdays, strictly on YouTube. So if you want to know more about that books, just watch those mini episodes and see if I want to do some with that. So just remember that they could be popping up here. So these books are small town romance, Cowboy, City Girl. At least the first 2 have been Cowboy, City Girl. and kind of like an enemies to lovers, but not like fantasy enemies to lovers. Like that's a whole different, like, I feel like genre or category of enemies to lovers. This is just like they don't get along at the beginning and then they slowly start to have feelings towards each other and it's all good. And those are my favorite kind. For the mother sister standard, I honestly like, I think my sister would really like these books. I think my mom would like them. They are kind of spicy, but not like the spice isn't the main focus. Like it's more of a main focus than others that I've read. And there is like when it is spicy, it's spicy. So I would say it's like a 3 out of 5, but they're able to skip it. There's a lot of sexual tension throughout the books, which is my favorite part. And so I think that they would love that as well. But it's just like the main like spicy scenes that they could easily skip. So I would say that they would like this series, like so far anyways. And I definitely am going to recommend it to my sister to read. And then I'll keep her updated as I read throughout the other books. But I would say that she would really like it. We'll just stay tuned for that. I honestly, like, I learned a lot about bull riding in this book. It was surprising. Like, I grew up going to rodeos and, like, I know a little bit about, like, the country life and, like, cowboy life. Like, I have a lot of extended family that run ranches, and I grew up in Idaho, so ranches were, like, all around us. So I'm, like, I knew a little bit, but when it comes to like actual rodeo things, like I just went to look at the Cowboys, which is what one really does at a rodeo. But I never knew like the scoring. I never knew what they looked for. I never knew like any of that. And I learned about it in this book, which was super cool. I really liked that. I know a book is good when I'm immediately absorbed into the story. Like, I don't question, like, the characters or the setting or, like, I'm not confused by something. Like, I am just immediately absorbed and I am just there. And that's when I know that I really like a book or that the book is really good, when I am just, like, immediately in there. And I can usually tell within the first 5 chapters if it's going to be that type of book where I can just, like, get absorbed into it, know what I like, keep going, want to like go back to the story and read whenever I can. Like there's signs. Like I know the signs of a good book, and this was definitely a good book, and the second book is even more of a good book because I cannot put it down. Like I didn't even want to do this episode because I wanted to keep reading. Like I had to tell myself like, okay, get to the next like full number, which when I say full number, whenever I like stop during a book, I can only stop when it's at like 5 or 10 or 15, 20. Like I can only stop like at the 5 mark what is it? Integrals? That's not the right word. Is it the right word? I'm probably saying it wrong, but you know what I'm saying. Like I can't stop like at a 23. Are you kidding me? Like that would freaking like I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it. That could be the ADHD me. I'm pretty sure I have OCD as well. But I'm pretty sure that's a sign of it. I don't know. But yeah, so I stopped at chapter 20. I even like went a couple pages into it and I was like, wait, what chapter am I at? And I went back and I'm like, dang it, I'm already on chapter 20. So that's how you know, like, this episode, I don't even know if this episode is going to be long or short, but if it's short, I'm immediately going to go and read it. You know, like that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my day. Anyway, so we'll try and get through this. Okay, so let's learn about Summer and Rhett. So Summer is the newest full-time hire at Hamilton Elite, which is like an agency that they are like agents or managers for like celebrities and athletes. And it's her father's agency. So he's like the head CEO, honcho. He is actually the agent of Rhett. And so when we first get into the book, we are watching a video clip of Rhett, and he is on the bull and he's talking to one of these other bull riders. And they're talking about like how like he hasn't gotten a broken bone, like he must drink a lot of milk because one of his sponsors is a big milk company. And so the guy's like teasing him and he's like, no, I hate that stuff. Like, I don't drink milk. Like, ugh, like just super like blatant about it. And he doesn't know that he's being recorded. And then later that the same guy is like recording Rhett and like following him and like getting up in his face, and Rhett like punches him. And so then her dad, like Summer's dad, Kip, like turns the clip off and he's like, yeah. So his sponsors are thinking of pulling out. And that's, of course, not a good thing. And he's like, we got to help, like, save this guy's image, like, at least for 2 months before, like, the big championship in Vegas. And Kip doesn't want to deal with him. So he is actually sending Summer out to play as a media liaison, play as a babysitter. Like, she is going to be with him, like, pretty much all the time to make sure that he is well behaved, because if not, he's going to lose those sponsors and lose that money, and it's not going to be a good deal. And it's going to be for those 2 months, you know, and she's not happy about it, but she'll do it because, I mean, it's her dad and she wants to prove herself, and it makes sense. So she gets to the ranch, and one of the reasons why she is nervous about this is she had a childhood crush on Rhett because he's been in the bull riding industry for a while. And she is, I want to say she's 25 and he's like 32. So there's like 7 years between them. And so he started bull riding when he was like a teenager. And so she's kind of known him through the media as this cowboy bull rider that always like sleeps with the buckle bunnies, and always like he's just like this playboy type thing. So she has that attitude going in, and Rhett is upset because he feels like he has a babysitter. And so when she gets there, he just doesn't treat her like, he's still a gentleman, but he's like rude and grumpy and stuffy, and it's like, oh, okay, like so then they start traveling for like the different competitions, and she starts helping him like work out and like stretch his muscles because he's getting injured and he doesn't really know how to take care of himself like healthily. And so she helps him with that. And so they just start to have like a very, you know, simple friendship, and he's still like, he becomes more and more gentleman like. And they start to talk really freely with each other and just really get to know each other and build a good friendship. And they both feel that attraction. There's lots of sexual tension during this book, and I loved it. And he's able to really be open with how he feels about the rodeo and being a bull rider. Like, his family really, really wants him to retire, and they just want like what's best for him and for him to be safe. And he just feels like he's not being supported because they don't go to any of his competitions anymore. Like, they're like, because they have the stance like, you just need to retire. And so she's there for him, and that creates like a little bond between them. And it's really nice, especially because he's like never felt like he's someone's priority. Their mom died when he was like 2. And so he has never felt like he could rely on his family and siblings and everything, but he never, like I said, felt like a priority, or that he was really important, or like supported for his choices. And like, having someone like Summer there with him has really opened him up, and it was really cool to see him becoming like a different person almost. Like, he really became comfortable, and like he liked having someone there with him. And there is a little bit of a drama with Summer's ex, because he actually was her doctor when she was having heart problems when she was like younger, like a teenager. And so it's kind of like a little scandal. I guess they didn't do anything until she was like 18. But then they didn't have like an exclusive relationship, but he just led her on the whole time until her sister, her like stepsister, There's like a little bit of drama with Summer, and her name is Winter. They like don't really get along, but Summer really wants to get along with her and have a relationship, but Winter does not like Summer because of like the situation that they're put in. And anyways, I won't go a lot into it. But once that doctor saw Winter, Winter is a surgeon as well in the same hospital. He left Summer and went to Winter, and they've been together. And I want to say that they're married. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they're married too. And so Rhett knew this when at one point her dad, like Summer's dad, has a heart attack. So she's at the hospital and Rhett goes with her and he sees the doctor. He knows about the situation and Winter is there too. And Rhett just kind of like he defends Summer, like, but he just like lays everything out there. And Summer hadn't told Winter yet or anyone about this like little relationship she had. And so Rhett kind of like puts her in a bad situation. And so they distance themselves. He doesn't want to. He's like, no, I love you. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, he's like, don't leave me. And but she's like, you know what, I need some time. And so it's like they still aren't talking before like the Las Vegas championship, and he is about to get onto the bowl. And actually, I think he does like get on the bowl, and then he hears this like loud whistle, and he looks up, and Summer is there. They haven't seen each other for a couple weeks because she's been mad at him, and but she shows up for him at his championship, and he's like, you know what? I don't need to do this. Like, it's the first time in it. At one point he had said like he will know when he retires is when once he gets on the bull and he doesn't feel excitement anymore, but he feels fear. That's when he knows it's time to retire. And when he got on that bull and when he looked at Summer, he felt fear, especially because like his ribs were really sore and he had hurt his shoulder and he felt that and he was like, nope, I'm done. And so he actually gets up from the bowl and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm retiring. Like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. And so he actually goes and finds Summer and he's like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm ready. I want to be with you. And she's like, I love you. And it's so cute. It's so cute. Like, I loved it all. I really did. I absolutely loved it. I'm loving this second book more because Cade, who's the oldest brother, he is a single dad. And he has a 5-year-old son, and the mom is not in the picture. She is left along, like I think when Luke was 2, she left. So he's been a single dad for a while, and he does the ranch, and he's so grumpy, like, so it's just like the perfect amount of grump. Like, I thought Rhett was grumpy, but I didn't think he was enough grumpy. But Cade, oh, he's just grumpy enough. Like, I don't know what it is about the grumpy where I'm like, you have my heart. These are my favorite. And so he needs a nanny and he can't find anyone. And he gets kind of like desperate. He's like, I don't know what to do. And Summer's like, oh, let me call my best friend. She is open for the summer. She is good. And she says that she's good with rowdy boys. And so Cade thinks that she has experience with kids. But in reality, Willa manages a really successful bar, and she does deal with rowdy boys, rowdy guys, rowdy patrons. But Summer doesn't clarify that. And automatically him and Willa like butt heads, but Willa and Luke get along so well. Like, it's so cute, the relationship like she builds with this little boy. And it slowly softens Cade's heart. And I'm about halfway through. And so I'm just like, oh, what is going to happen? Because I know that there's probably going to be a little breakup. I know that I could just feel like something's about to happen. And they've been like a little spicy with each other, just like they've kissed. But he's really like put his distance. And so I'm excited. Like, that's the thing about this spice. It's a little bit later on in the book, which is really nice because then like the story and characters have been established and you really have that sexual tension that you're like, oh, okay, I'm ready. And then it happens. So I'm like right to the point where I'm like, okay, I think it's going to happen. Like, I think he's going to give in. Ugh, I'm just so excited. So I think that's where I'm going to end this episode because I'm just so excited to get back to that book. And that's how you know that this is a good book and a good series so far. So I highly recommend this book. I already highly recommend the second book. And I am excited to just dive into Chestnut Springs. I already forgot what the series is called, but it just, here we go. This is going to be my series for the week. I want to say, let's see, what was my plan for Thursday's episode? Honestly, I think I will do it on book 2 because I've just loved book 2. Maybe I'll read even book 3. Actually, I most likely will, and I probably can get it done before Thursday. I'm just going to do book 2 and book 3 on Thursday. So look for that because I'm going to make it happen. So it's just going to be an Elsie Silver week. And that's okay because I'm already obsessed with her. So anyways, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Subscribe on YouTube and anywhere that you stream this episode or listen to this episode, rate and review. I love it all. It just helps me feel better. So anyways, grateful for you guys and I'll talk to you next week.